Welcome to 12 Days of Music Stories. Today is day 1, Licorice McKechnie. This is a story about lost and found. So Christina McKechnie was born in Edinburgh, Scotland in 1945. By the 1960s, Christina was a poet and a singer performing in folk clubs around Scotland, and she went by the nickname Licorice, a name she got because she liked to roll cigarettes with licorice-flavored paper. And she started dating this other Scottish musician named Robin Williamson. Robin had started this group that was kind of the house band at this club called Clive's Incredible Folk Club in Glasgow. So since they were the house band at the Incredible Folk Club, they called their group the Incredible String Band. Robin and the Incredible String Band were signed to Elektra Records. They released their debut album, The Incredible String Band, in 1966. But in 1967, Robin invited his girlfriend Licorice to join the band. She did backing vocals, percussion, and also wrote songs for the band. Her first appearance was in July 1967 on this album called The 5,000 Spirits or The Layers of the Onion. This was the 60s. And throughout the decade, the Incredible String Band started to get pretty successful. In 1968, they released The Beautiful Hangman's Daughter, which actually went to number 5 on the UK charts. That same year, they also released a double album called Wee Tam and the Big Huge, which was released as 2 separate single albums in America, and they actually both charted on the Billboard charts. The Incredible String Band got so big that they were selling out venues like the Fillmore in San Francisco and Royal Albert Hall in London. In 1969, the band was actually one of the bands that performed at Woodstock. They played on the second day right before Canned Heat.
Don't kiss me, that kiss is untasted. I'll never, no, never get it back.
Unfortunately, they didn't make the cut for the movie Woodstock, but they were still a huge part of the late 60s psychedelic scene. Except in 1969, the band also got involved with a cult. Not the Manson family, even worse, Scientology. In 1969, Robin and Licorice and a bunch of the other members of the Incredible String Band, they all converted to the Church of Scientology. In 1970, they released this album, You, that was inspired by Scientology. It's like the Battlefield Earth of music. And it wasn't quite as big a disaster as Battlefield Earth, but it was not a big commercial success either, and the band kind of wound down after that. Licorice and Robin broke up in 1972. She left the Incredible String Band and then didn't do much for the rest of the decade. She played a lot of Scientology concerts, and she did join some other bands and have some other recordings, but never had as much success as she did in the Incredible String Band. She got married to this guy named Brian Lambert and then divorced. And then in the late 1980s, that's where the story gets even weirder, because that's when Licorice McKechnie disappeared. The last time she was seen by anybody was hitchhiking across the Arizona desert in 1987. Her family said that the last time they talked to her was 1990, and then she was living in Sacramento, but after that, nobody ever heard from her again. Years later, her ex-husband Brian Lambert said in an interview that she struggled with a lot of mental health issues, schizophrenia, and that she had been homeless for a long time. For decades, nobody knew what happened to Licorice. Her ex-bandmates speculated that she might be dead. That was until November of 2025. In an article in the Daily Mail, they claimed that a reporter tracked her down and that she was alive and living in Sacramento. Now, I don't know for sure if this is true. The Daily Mail is not the most reputable source, but according to them, she is living in Sacramento. She's living in affordable housing for the elderly there, and they said in the article that she's really grumpy. Apparently, she did respond to her nickname Licorice, but also is going by her birth name, except instead of pronouncing it Christina, she's pronouncing it Christina. There are a lot of weird details like that in the article. But maybe the detail that gives the most insight into the Licorice McKechnie disappearance story is that the reporter said that she was outside her building smoking a cigarette when somebody else came up to her and tried to bum one off of her, and she just said, "Leave me alone." That was day 1 of 12 Days of Music Stories. Join me here tomorrow for another new music story.